The other Eastern Conference game, Danny, what do you make of Maple Leafs Lightning now with the Leafs getting that very, very crazy back and forth overtime win, showing about a minus 115 road favorite there with the 2-1 series lead tomorrow?
Yeah, and just really quick last thoughts. I'll probably be leaning toward the Rangers in that game. Long story short, Schmidt came in, had really rejuvenated the team, but I think the Rangers will bounce back. For the Maple Leafs and Lightning, now this is tricky, Ben, because we talked yesterday, and I said, all right, well, if Toronto wins this game, I feel great in the sense of them winning this series. And even if they were to lose this next game, I'd still hold that to be true, of course, because in terms of the home ice kind of flipping back. I mean, right here at a pick'em, like that's exactly where it should be. It really should be in that spot. This has to be a game where you probably live bet it, right, Ben? I mean, you've seen these games be pretty volatile between the teams, or at least feature enough scoring to present that fluctuation in the price. To if you have the team you like going into it, but you know that there is going to be a back and forth type of scoring affair, then keep that in mind and look to see if you get a better number. That may be the strategy I have with Toronto. Or you could just bet pre-flop this total going over 6.5. Because, again, the scoring opportunities have been there. Samsonov, yes, stepped it up late in that last game, but he has kind of been not the same goalie we saw throughout the regular season before that. And Vasilevsky, as good as he is, how good can you be when you're going up against a lethal Toronto offense? And also, there's been a lot of power play opportunities throughout the first 3 games. So don't hate the idea of leaning toward the over there, Ben, and also would probably prefer just to wait for an in-game approach, because whichever team goes up first, or rather, I guess if the Lightning go up first, I wouldn't have an issue jumping in on Toronto at a better price because of how we've seen back and forth efforts so often, and just knowing the assets that the Maple Leafs possess offensively and how quickly they could get back into it, much like an Edmonton Oilers team down 3-0. It's back into it because of the opportunities they always have in front of them. So, yeah, nothing pre-flop, but those would be my lean/strategies for that game.
Yeah, and you think about how the game finished. Tampa Bay, 63% of the shot attempts, 60% of the expected goals from last night. They really did outplay Toronto, but give up the late goal to tie it. Goes into overtime. Maple Leafs win to take the 2-1 series lead. And Eric Cernak, one of those injured defensemen for Tampa, he's already been ruled out with the head injury for tomorrow. Even though the Lightning got back Victor Hedman yesterday's game, they're still a little bit shorthanded on the defensive side. But with how well they skated 5-on-5, I'm a little bit tempted just at the home dog price. You can find some of the books I see as high as plus 102. I don't know how you could blame anybody in a tight series like this where Tampa looked like the better team for 59.5 minutes. Wanting to take a plus price on them tomorrow to even up the series, Danny.
No, I get it. I really do. And I think you could have a strong argument, obviously, as we're seeing Pick'em to go either way. The only thing that is causing me a little bit more hesitancy to want to invest in Tampa Bay is because, again, I like Toronto coming into this series. I haven't liked Tampa at all really this year. And in a lot of spots where you're like, yeah, this should be a spot where they win, they've fallen short because, again, it's just so hard to keep up a dominance in the National Hockey League. And yes, they play a lot better at home, but this Toronto team is different this year. And the fact that they hung on and came back in that game yesterday, I think that proves it. So, look, again, I'm not here to talk anybody out of it. I'm just saying from my position, it would be Maple Leafs or nothing, or the Maple Leafs from an in-game standpoint, because, yes, Tampa Bay seems very juicy from all of those angles, all the history, the camaraderie and pedigree that they possess, and how they look to be outplaying them in that last game. But now it's just a big shift in the momentum. And if you think about it from Toronto's standpoint, Ben, so much pressure going over this team because of how poor they've been in the playoffs. Lost game 1, came back and exploded game 2, and then came back and won that game. Like, that takes a big amount of weight off their shoulders, and now they can play loose again. They can play confident and play like the team that they should be playing like, which is a better squad than Tampa Bay to me.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.